Hello, everybody, and I'm saying all kind of shit because they don't really
We're not
matter.
even. Are we even live on
All right, I'm
Facebook?
about
We
to
ain't
say I
live
don't think
yet,
we
so
live.
hold on, sucker.
Yeah,
Y'all,
All
when
right,
I stuck my
now.
tongue out, I was like, "Oh, I should get a tongue piercing." Look, I got a hole right there.
what?
Like it's like right there. You see it?
So you just think you can just insert like pew, pew.
No, I'm just saying it's like a perfect. It's like asking me
Oh,
to.
it wants to be there.
Yeah,
Like,
because it has a little indent there. Okay,
All right, if you're
I'm
just now
sorry.
joining us,
ain't nobody just now joining us. Yeah, why you putting hot dog water in a oatmeal can?
What is
Terrell,
happening?
whenever you're ready.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sips and Scripts, the podcast where we make a cocktail and talk about one of our favorite films from the past and present. My name is Terrell Bernard, and I watch movies.
And I am Kirsten Jack. And from Low Country Socialite.
My name is Kayla Rose, and I am an entertainment blogger at theater.com. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
A couple things. Why do I have the giggles? Because I didn't realize you actually were live while we were doing. Yeah. So welcome to the pre-show. If you saw that, one day we're gonna be a little bit more professional. Won't be today though, apparently. Second, we ought to change our slogan because movies we love from the past and the present, I feel like is not accurate. And I want to say that because of the movie that we're doing today.
Well, what
I don't think it's a movie that we love from the past or the present.
What is it?
Huh? It's not a movie that we love.
From the future.
No, we say movies that we love from the past and the present. And I'm like, I don't know if any one of us loved this movie that we're talking about today.
True.
Maybe, but okay.
Like movies we talking about from the past and the present.
It's Kayla's
So
episode.
today, it is Kayla's episode, and before y'all jump down my throat, okay, I was trying to. I today's episode wasn't a pick because I was like, oh my god, I just love this movie and I thought it was great, and like we have got to watch it. It was more of like it's a Black History Month. It's one of the newer films that had tons of controversy around it. So let's talk about it. So today we are talking about The Woman King. And if you don't know, it is a movie about the West African kingdom of Dahomey.
Three of them? Like Tony? What's going
on? They had a all-female group of warriors called the Izogie, and they were basically warriors during the time where the African slave trade was happening. If you know, or if you don't know, that there were African tribes who would fight each other, capture. Oh gosh, y'all, the word. The word is coming out of my mind. They would capture people, but what's the word when you capture people? They're
enslaved?
No, it's not the word. Like when you get captured in battle, it's called something.
Oh, POW?
Prisoners of war? Prisoners of war.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
That's what I was looking for. They would sell the prisoners of war to the white folks, and they would, get shipped off and stuff like that. Well, you had the Izogie, who were the women fighters, and they would which we're going to talk about, would also capture folks and sell them. But 2, they would also go and try to liberate their people from who had been captured. So that's what this movie is about, sort of, kind of, a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more about it as we get into it. But before we do, let's talk about a cocktail, because I'm sure we could have used 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 when this movie was like.
Oh. All right.
Hey.
And Kirsten might be a little frozen. Okay.
That one?
Wow. Fun
Yeah, you're
time.
there. I can hear you now.
Oh, you weren't here?
Just very still listening to you.
Oh, was it a...
Well, don't be so still.
Right. Move around, shake around a little bit. Do something.
That's over here while y'all talking.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
No, and get a battery too. 9-volt.
Oh! Somebody's catching strays.
That was hateful and shady. Terrell.
Oh, I love
So-
you, Kirsten.
So what you did?
Yeah.
Spirit that and Woman King. My favorite character from this movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna talk a little later but her drink and the
Yeah.
sort of like a little flask, in the end, spoiler. Pour out some whiskey for her. So,
Her and part of the little liquor came from. Mm-hmm.
fair enough. So we're gonna make a classic whiskey. So whiskey sour kind of follows a dairy one. Need ounces of whiskey, and so I have these whiskey.
Beautiful.
And a shaker. And 2 ounces of put that in our shaker. Lemon juice. And I need some store-bought lemon juice. Now you have some cocktail snobs be like, fresh is best, and it is, but it ain't got fresh.
I feel like they say that about everything, so it's okay. Kings and queens, you can not use fresh. It is not the end of the world. Have you seen grocery prices? It's not the end of the world.
Ounce of lemon juice and a simple syrup.
Tennessee whiskey. Is there a difference while you're making this? Is there a difference between regular whiskey and Tennessee whiskey?
Just where it's from or where it was made.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes people
Yeah.
just ain't. Just think they want to.
So if I was at the Tennessee Georgia line, right, and I had 1 foot in Tennessee and 1 foot in Georgia.
Freaking weirdo. All right, and an ounce of simple syrup. And so with at least 20 seconds. So
Okay, I got you. A, B, C, D, F.
20.
That's how long you're supposed to wash your hands. That's how long you're supposed to wash your hands. You're supposed to do the ABC song for 20 seconds so you wash your hands. So everybody who looked at me crazy, know they only washing their hands for 20 seconds.
Because we're not singing the song.
My internet is being weird. It says I'm glitching.
I
Well, we
believe
can
it.
hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Oh,
A B C D E F G H
I
I N N O P Q R S T U V X Y
numbers.
Z.
20.
We done made it to 20, okay?
Uh,
We done made it to 20.
Yeah, I think you got 20 down packed.
Y'all crazy.
We done made it past 20.
All right, so that's a simple rocks glass.
Yep.
Pour our drink in there.
Yum.
Pour it up, pour it up. I can't see it. Oh. Got a comment saying they can't hear you, Kirsten.
What? Oh no. I
Yeah,
can hear you.
It's being weird.
Oh. I'm sorry.
So,
I know it's probably weird for people who can't hear you. I'm like, oh, that's so sad. Like,
well, did they hear her recipe? If not, the recipe is in the body of the post. So if you would like a reenactment, we can have her do it again on Instagram for you.
y'all gonna be oh no, hell you not. So I am, for those who can hear me, I am garnishing with 3 cherries and
Beautiful.
orange slice. So here we are with our whiskey sour as tribute to Izogie.
Izogie. I got some things to say.
So let's get started. Do we want to talk about our history with the film?
I don't believe we have one.
I don't think any of us have one, honestly, truly. I think we all watched the movie within the last 48 hours. Yeah. It is.
Yeah, my first time.
Absolutely. So yeah, we can skip right on over that if you no real histories over here. No. But I can give you a little bit of a summary, technical summary, because we talked about what it was about. So the budget for this movie was $50 million. It made $94.3 million in the box office. To me, that's not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. But it's cool. It's cool. They made it. They did it. They prospered. It stars Viola Davis. She's the main character, giving main character energy. We have some other folks. We love a little Marvel shout out to Lashana Lynch and Sheila Atim. They were both in the film. And then I want to say John Boyega. We love a little John Boyega. Okay. Woo. So those are the folks who were in the film. It was a Sony Pictures movie. So that's just kind of like, it came out last year, or did it come out last year or this year?
It was last year.
Yeah, September of last year. And it had a lot of controversy. The folks was not here for this movie. They had a whole boycott, The Woman King, trending on Twitter when it came out. A lot of people were very unhappy about this film. And I think when we start talking about it, rightfully so. The main point of contention was that the movie seemed to uplift the women of the of the Homie tribe, but they also kind of were selling other Africans into slavery and things like that. Like, I think a lot of people thought that the creators of this film tried to put like this positive spin on this tribe that was also doing just as bad, if not as worse, as the rest of them. My thoughts there, they were trying to tell this story, but they were trying to tell it in a way that was family friendly, I guess. And I'm like, oh, so you just wanted to lie when you put the film in. Okay. But okay, cool. So yeah, it's a lot going on. If we know our famous, our loved, beloved Lupipi was slated to be in the movie, and she was like, I did some research. No, thank you. So the movie was definitely hit with a lot of criticism just because it doesn't it just wasn't what the folks wanted in a retelling of. So let's get into it.
Right.
I think one of the first things for me that I saw was when like the first 1 to 20 minutes of the film was Viola Davis' character kind of just saying, so we're fighting to capture people and sell them so that we can get weapons just to go back and fight to capture people to sell them to get weapons. Make it make sense. We have other things that we could be selling. And I was like, that is smart. That's some good thinking. They were being used as pawns, basically, because at the end of the day, well, from this movie, because we know that there was a lot more stuff happening in real life, but in this movie, if we just keep it to the movie and not the rest of like the actual history, in the movie, they were being used as pawns, basically. Like, if we can get you all to fight each other, and we're giving you a reward, which is more weapons, which they thought was like, oh, that's great, because that means we can go and take over the rest of the things and sell more people and get more stuff. And like, she was the only one who was like, ding, 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 that actually doesn't serve us if they were actually giving us something worth value. Oh, hi,
Hey. Special guest.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, pull up a chair.
Oh boy.
Oh gosh, it's gonna be a time today. Well, anywho, basically, she was in the first half of the movie, and she was like, "Actually, y'all, something ain't right here. We just fighting to get more weapons, just to fight to get more weapons, and that don't make no sense." And I was like, "You onto something there, sis." But that's just the movie, because we know a lot of other stuff happened outside of the movie. But what y'all thought about that? She had peak game, really.
But she says it's good.
Yay!
This is hilarious.
But you know, something else as we do the Barbara Jean thing is that what did the one of the movie's producers, which is also Viola Davis's husband, was like, yes, we want to tell, you know, it's history, but we have to take license. We have to entertain people. And if we just wanted to tell a history lesson, then we would have made a documentary. And I was like, that's the difficult thing between entertainment and like telling history. Like, there are things that are going to be fabricated.
Of course, but then to tell all out just things that aren't factual at all, just tell all out lies. Like, then just say you're making a movie and don't act like it's like predicated on actual events, because the majority of the events in this film didn't happen. It wasn't true. This tribe was very aggressive toward other tribes throughout Western Africa. They killed, I think I saw where they killed people a year in sacrifices, just because their own people that they captured, and they were major in the Atlantic slave trade, so much so that they weren't going to ever stop until England and the European countries was like, we're through with the slave trade. Basically, that's what stopped them, was the slave trade basically ended, period. So, I mean, if you want to entertain, but don't just tell all out lies on with, because there are other countries, other stories, other groups of people that you could talk about, and you could tell a similar story and still have a grain of truth in what was going on with it. Because that's what didn't sit well with me, and I could see the controversy about this film, because a lot of the stuff they said, like, yeah, they were doing that, and then they acting like they wanted to end it. But if you read on it, after King, what is his name?
I want to say Gezo.
Yeah, after King Gezo, after he signed a decree stating that they would no longer do it, they still did it for like another 10 years after he was like, we gonna stop. So I mean, and you don't become that mighty of a country without doing things like they did it, because what were they, you don't have enough palm olive oil or gold that would money that you were losing by the selling of your own people and other people that you've captured. I mean, it was a lot. And after I watched the movie, I looked up some videos, and I could see how people would be like, nah, that's not it. And then I also saw how people twisted going on in the movie to make it fit their talking points, to bring forth this narrative of, oh, black people complain about slavery, but it was really black people the whole time, when that really is not a full accurate picture of what was going on during that time. You did what was going on during the time. They kind of glossed over the situation, and then it makes you look like you're being disingenuous when you always say you want the truth out about what happened in history, and we gloss over history when we bypass history. And then you have a movie that totally glosses over the history of this tribe and try to make it seem like, oh, well, they were fighting against the Portuguese. They were fighting to stop this, when in all actuality, they had no intentions on stopping it until it stopped for them.
Yeah.
So
I think probably for me, one of the biggest things. Oh, go ahead.
Oh
no, go ahead.
For this movie, one, I think, and you can tell that she worked really hard to prepare for this film. And we have, because her physique was like, ability that she had in this film was amazing.
Come on, he got.
Yeah. It was a beautiful film. I give it that. Compelling. It took me about 20 minutes or so into the movie, because it's but it was the cinematography really well done. Like the fighting scenes, well done.
And black people always gonna look good on camera. Ooh, they look good. Their skin was like,
they are shot right there.
Yeah, and this movie was really shot right.
Yeah,
and
And a lot of
Mhm.
them went out to get it. She did not appear like an African person.
Yeah.
They're all of African descent. But
Yeah.
she just looked like an older black lady.
Yeah, it looked like Viola Davis.
She look like Viola Davis. I guess she look like the lady from Senses.
Yeah. Somebody. Okay. So, but it took me a minute to kind of our African role.
Mhm.
Minute to kind of. It would have been more, or at least, or the producers of this film would make a fictional, just
Yeah.
movie,
Mhm.
because it was completely.
I think they tried to do it on the back end when they started getting
Controversy, yeah.
backlash. Yeah, when they started getting backlash is when they started to try to explain, like, yes, this is, a movie and it has a little bit of the history in it, but also it's just for entertainment purposes. It's not like they tried to do that afterwards when I think they should have probably have been saying that when stuff kind of came out, like beforehand. Like a little disclaimer. Y'all know how y'all go into Disney movies. When you go onto Disney movies now from back in the day that says this was da 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 in like 1960, so there might be some like racial prejudices and da 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 da. Like they should have put a little tagline at the beginning of this movie, like this has some elements of truth. However, comma, it is entertainment.
I said before we started, this movie was about as truthful as Captain America: The First Avenger to me. That's how much truth it had in it.
That's always gonna be funny.
The setting was right. They had I guess they had the country was right. The ruler at that time was right, but everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys, the whitewashing of history, and it's irresponsible.
But when you try to put something off as being inspired by true events or based on a true story, have some truth in the story. I mean, of course, it's not going to make them look good because a lot of tribes in Africa were doing the same thing, selling other Africans to Europeans to come over to the New World, to come over to America, to go over to the Caribbean, to go over to South America and all those other countries. So that's not even the point. The point is not that they were doing that. The point is that there's other stories to tell, and I believe that they are neglecting to tell those stories. And I believe that by trying to whitewash this thing to make it seem like, oh, well, they were the good guys the whole time, when they were actually the villains of this whole story, is doing a disservice to what I believe Black Americans are trying to accomplish with equality just in general in America. Because you be like, oh, huh?
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Ask. Go ahead. Ask. That's fine.
My question to you is what do you think could have been feeling in the storyline? Because I think about movies that are kind of in the same vein of this movie, where it's like a fictionalized story or a romantic or story inside of a real life event. And the first movie that comes to mind is Titanic, where we know the relationship and the romantic part between Rose and Jack was completely fabricated, but it was encapsulated in this historical film. So do you think maybe the whole family drama between what was the general's name? Nanisca and Nawi could have been pushed further to the front, or what? How do you think
that some of the storylines, I believe they could have actually cut that. Actually, being her daughter wasn't integral to the story. Her falling for the half.
The half what?
He was half Portuguese and half the homie. I believe that was unnecessary for the film. Period. It's like, all right,
that was a weird flex. Yeah,
it didn't make any sense. I was like, why is this in here?
To me, that's what made it a entertainment film. Because if you would have took that out, it would have been like, okay, we're just watching a film about, like, that was the added drama part to it. I get the question that you're asking is like, how could they have done it without what it would have, to me, what it would have been, it just wouldn't have been entertaining. It wouldn't have been entertaining at all if we would have done it the way that it needed to be done. Everyone would have been like, wow, what a boring movie we just watched.
Okay, quick question. Y'all saw 13 Years a Slave, right? Did anybody see that? Did y'all look at that movie and was like, man, that was sure enough entertaining?
I'm not gonna lie to y'all know I'm a little crazy, so some stuff I'll be like, this is wild, and so I'll be like, it's entertaining, but it's not entertaining in a hee hee ha ha way. I'd be like, oh, y'all is stupid for putting this in a movie, and I'm crying laughing, but not because it's funny.
Well, so if this story would have been the truth, I'm trying to think objectively, and like,
if it had. What could they have done to make? I think if they would have dropped the whole inspired by true events or based on a true story, if they would have dropped that whole thing and been like, we're trying to tell a story about this tribe. We thought that the women in this tribe were powerful. They were strong. We want to show you their might, their strength, how the Oyo tribe. I would have been like, okay, that's fine. But when you start throwing this stuff like based on true events, then everything outside.
You can't about true events because these tribes did exist, but it's just like the way that it was positioned.
Of course,
like, it made
just like okay.
Story. And I guess like I said, I'm trying to like kind of think objectively, like if they would have made really showcase how brutal and savage like this tribe was, and how much their participation in the slave trade was, then I feel like it would have drawn criticism there, like, oh, showcasing blacks in a negative light, and it's like, okay, well, I'm trying to like, how do we fix this film? Because this just,
the problem is you cannot please everyone.
You can't
at the end of the day, because that's what I was going to say. If they wanted to show the film in a more accurate way, it would have had to have been these women were strong, they were powerful, but they would have had to show how strong and powerful they were in all aspects. So they were strong and powerful for defeating the other tribes, but they were also strong and powerful in building their nation by selling the folks that they beat as well. They would have had to show both sides of the coin to show an accurate description of them being as powerful, as strong as that this movie was trying to portray. Well, it was portraying them. They cut out they cut out the other part of them being strong. They cut out the part where they were also ruthless and also like just kind of were perpetuating the issue as well. They cut all of that off in the back end. And that would have made the story a lot more realistic, as if you're like, yes, these women were strong, powerful, they fought for their tribe, but also they were a little bit of an issue as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. And I think, like you said, it would have drawn criticism either way. because it's like, well, why are you telling this story? Why are you guys giving them more ammunition to talk about us? And, they already pushed this narrative that it was our fault that we got sold in slavery. So, like, I think it would have met criticism that way. It met criticism this way. Unfortunately, a lot of people, like, you're just never going to be able to please the masses. It's either don't talk about it, or if you are going to talk about it right. But if you are going to talk about it right, why? Because it makes us look bad, even though it wasn't our fault at the end of the day. Like, it's a lot of, like, so much. It's so many. Because slavery and that whole thing is so complicated. It's so complex. There's still like a lot of trauma there, such a lot of history there, that it's hard to tell those stories.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like,
it is.
Yeah, Negroes doing some foul ass shit too. But it all comes back to motherfucker.
Like you were saying, it's difficult.
It is, but my thing is, and I'm trying to go off your memory because I don't remember when they put out the Titanic. Were they like just based on a true story, it's true events, or was it just like Titanic, a movie? You're gonna watch it, you know about the Titanic, and we're just telling a story that doesn't have anything to do with actual facts, but we're just telling a love story.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, y'all, I have never watched the Titanic, and I also, in all of these years, thought that the Titanic was fake, period. So I didn't know that.
For doing that from Sips and Scripts, where it's probably the final episode.
What? I did not know nothing about. I didn't know. I thought this entire time, my entire 27 years.
When did you learn that it wasn't fake?
Maybe a couple years ago. A couple years ago.
Oh, Kayla. It's like every week you get further and further away from God's love. And I'm worried about your soul now.
What?
I just had never watched the Titanic, so I don't really care.
We have a comment that simply says Kayla.
I'm so sorry. So I always thought that it was just a fake movie. Oh, it's playing at the AMC Snellville today. I might go watch it.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
No, you're not. You're not going to do that. Even if it was free, you know, like we doing a free screening of the Titanic down at the Snellville, you'd be like, good for them, and then you keep going on with your life.
Well, anywho, yeah, no.
But okay, listen, I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you this, because I don't give you much. But when me and Terrell were growing up, Titanic was huge. And not even just because it was a huge movie. It was a huge movie that was expensive, but it was kind of like, maybe not the first, but one of the first of its kind, like this big, huge, expensive production. And like, it was, I remember I went and saw the Titanic 3 times in the movie theaters.
Sheesh.
Not because it was so good, but because we were teenagers and it stayed in the movie theaters for so long that there was nothing else to watch.
I believe it was, if it was Bryce Cinema, I believe it was at Bryce Cinema for a whole year.
Yeah. It was. And this was at a time where movie theaters only showed like 2 movies at a time. Mm-hmm. Yes, y'all cheering today is spoiled, okay? Y'all got they show like 10, 12 movies at a time. But back in the day,
yeah,
you had to choose between one or the other. And that was that. So
yeah.
The Bryce Cinema, not anymore, but rest in peace, Bryce Cinema. Showed the Titanic for a whole year, and it was
wow.
You take a break in the middle of it.
They just turned the movie off and was like intermission.
Yeah. Like you were at like Broadway theater. It would take an intermission and then they would restart the movie. Or not restart it, but they would resume the movie. So I will say that I know a lot about the Titanic because it was pretty much a major part of my being a teenager, because it was a film that I saw quite a bit. I had a friend that saw it 7 times.
That's a long time to be in theaters.
Yes,
a year. I don't think I've ever heard of a movie being in theaters for a year.
Well, back in the day, that's what movies. That's what, like, it wasn't like movies coming out every month. It was like movies come out every 6 months, and if the movie was really popular, the movie stayed. People were still going to see it.
Back in the movie theater was your only movies. So it ain't like, oh, they just no. I got movies, but the Titanic, that's how I know a lot about it. As a child, I knew about the
right. And also, am I really going to sit down and watch a movie with no. It's like 3 hours long.
I think it's worth a
3-hour movie that I am willing to sit through is a Marvel movie. That's the issue. I
think you're lucky that you didn't see the movie, because I know this is unpopular as I don't know what, but I hate Titanic. If I never ever see that movie ever for the rest of my life, I'll be the happiest.
Not even a Titanic episode, but I want to know why you hate the Titanic.
I'm here for it. Let's talk about it.
I'm for this year.
Please don't. It's like 3 hours long. I do not want to sit and watch that. Please.
Hell, I think you would.
Yeah, I think you would too.
Know me well enough, because like Leonardo DiCaprio, I think the best movie Leonardo DiCaprio was. He's cool. I think the best movie that I've ever seen him in was The Wolf of Wall Street, and this movie is not going to touch The Wolf of Wall Street. So, other than that,
that's an outstanding. I give it to him. He does, but I think you. That like, what's about a ship drowning or
the ship was drowning? Somebody save the ship that's drowning.
Anyway, let's move
back to the homies.
Film The Woman King and some scenes in The Woman King. Like,
I got something.
We talked about the story.
Did y'all see it coming that she was gonna be her daughter?
Yes.
I mean, I saw it coming once at the point where she was like, "What you do with that baby that I gave away?" I mean, at that point, yeah, I was like, but like before that,
yes, because she kept.
Did you think that was what
they? Well, I'll say what was weird. I thought it was, and even though people have the right to change their mind and change the type of person that they are, I was like, I think that's weird that this man went to an orphanage and adopted this baby just for him to like kind of give her away at the end. I was like, okay. But then I was like, well, maybe he adopted this little girl because he was like, I know in a couple of years I can sell her off to a rich person. So maybe that, and then it kind of made me like, but then I liked that the film did that. It made me question like the characters, and I was okay. That's kind of smart. So, but one thing I did not understand, or one scene that I did not get, I was like, that whole pressing the shark tooth into her arm. I was like, how would that still be there and still be white? I was like, that's a bit far-fetched.
Also, I just don't understand why she did it. Like, did she, I mean, guess hope to one day reunite with her? Also, like, your skin is, like I know she had the keloid back there, right? But it's a foreign object. That shit would have gone out of your skin. It would have.
I was like, how?
Well, you know what? Hold on now, because let's think about this. People do be living with bullet fragments and stuff inside them that don't always come out. So
Yeah.
it's possible. But like, I still think that was weird. Yeah. It was strange. It was strange. I'm not gonna lie. Because what was the purpose? My whole thing was what was the purpose? Because I thought she was just going. To me, you would think she would just murder the baby, like just. And I know that sounds crazy, you know, in today's times, but with the way her thought pattern was going, I was like, oh. But no, she just sliced the baby's arm up and put a tooth into it, and then gave it back to the girl to be like, deal with it, and like. So you want her to kill it? Like okay. I had a lot of questions.
I feel like the shark, like
It wasn't.
I thought that they were gonna be like to slice your. That's how you got the, and that would have been like that would explain. Have scar on her back.
Me, I turned it over and went to that, like, because it was on her right here. So to me, it'd have been like I just turned you over so you wouldn't look at me, and I started to kill you, but I couldn't. Would have made a whole lot more sense. Would have made a whole lot more sense than I just decided to slice your arm and put a tooth in it. That didn't make any sense.
Well, what y'all think about the I could understand love interest or them, and that was so.
Who
they were trying to make him fall in love.
You're talking about Malik and Nawi. They were trying to be love interesty. That was not her friend. They was trying to fall in love and run away together. Like, well, he was trying to get her to fall in love and run away together. But I think they tried to play it down. It wasn't so much as a romance. Like it was like one of them subtle romances, and not like a she's falling head over heels for him type of romance.
Yeah,
Oh,
she used her head.
that whole they could have cut that part.
It would have. I think he was trying to get her to run away with him. Remember, he was like, when he told her about the how the other whatchamacallit had put more tribes together to try to overthrow them, and he was like, "We're leaving tomorrow." I think he was trying to say, "Hint, hint, we leaving tomorrow. You better come get in the back of one of these ships, sis. If you want to live, you better come on with me. I will make you a queen in England." Like, that's what I thought he was trying to say. And she was like, "Nah, I gotta go warn my people." And then found out she had a mama. Anyhow, yeah, I think that's what happened.
No way.
I think that's it.
That could have.
Well, I feel like there is a way. I feel like where there's a will, there is a way. If he would have
slavery times, hell no.
I know this gonna sound crazy, but if Mr. Man had went up them and bought her off that chopping block and was like, "That one is mine," he could have had her to like, and now she free. No. That would have worked?
No.
Okay.
Because they could have scrapped that whole. I don't even understand why they put that in there. It was so unnecessary. The part where it's her daughter, cut that. The part where this guy from Portugal comes and they're all, "I'm trying to save you. You got the key. You got the key."
I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead and finish. I just want to say the reason we can't cut off the Portuguese and slate the little the biracial baby is because it brought the funniest part of the film to me personally.
What? I didn't laugh one time at this film. Please tell me the comedy that
I'm
ensued.
not laughing because it was hee hee ha ha. I was laughing because I was like, look at your dumb ass. When he seen Nawi up there on the block, and he was like, what are you doing, man? You're buying slaves. And he was like, you better be glad your ass ain't up there. And I was like, oh shit. This is funny as fuck. Because not you thought you had a friend. Not you thought because you knew him since you was a little baby, he wasn't gonna try to buy somebody. Like not you thinking he was Andy and you was Woody. like, sir, no, that is a white man, and you are, no. He turned on your ass real quick and was like, "You better be glad you ain't up there," and that's funny.
That's the reason why I said that wouldn't work, because even like in that the whole caste system in England and like Portugal and all that stuff, there were like mixed race babies that were like brought up, with money and with their white families, but ain't no way he could have took no full-blooded Dahomey woman home and be like, this is my wife.
I think it would have been like I see my brain was like, he gonna pretend like he bought this slave, and so people are gonna be like, yes, he is one of us, he owns a slave now, and he was gonna treat her right. I don't know. Like that's what my thought. I don't know. I don't know. Like it might not have been a public relationship. It might have just been like she live in the house sometimes. I don't know. I don't know. But this is again why this is just a movie, entertainment.
But he probably did not have his own house. He probably lived with that guy, whatever his name was, in their manor or mansion.
I honestly don't know what was happening in this, like, because I don't know how they used to live back then. I figured all the white folks had their own houses and stuff if they was rich enough. And he seemed like he was part of the crew to me. I don't know. They lived together. They was in quarters together. I don't know.
He probably was light enough to be a household friend to that other man growing up. And so they traveled together, but he was still kind of like not treated as an equal, but treated better than the other slaves. So as far as him like making any decisions on like, this is a slave I'm gonna have and we're gonna have a house and a secret relationship,
it's probably a no.
Maybe, but
all I know is I remember him saying his mama was a slave, but he didn't really go further into that for real that I remember. I don't know, but I'm with y'all. I don't know how it was gonna work. At the end of the day, it didn't.
His mama was.
Yeah.
He had no money. I don't even understand how. But
I think he did have money. I forgot what his job was because it was like, you're just whatever he was. And I forgot what his job was. I'm pretty sure he had money.
I think he did have a job, but I just didn't see him like buying. He used all the money he had. I don't know. This shit was weird.
I don't know. It was giving holes. Now the movie was giving holes all throughout. It was some plots and some twists and some. But hey,
yeah, I don't know. Another thing that I noticed, King. How did I forget his name? And I remember all these names.
Gezo.
Yeah, King Gezo, because when he was talking to Buddy, he was like, "Yeah, they took my mom, and I'm still trying to get her back." I'm like, "What? You the king? How they took your mama?" I'm like, "Bro, they was just wilding out there. People is overlooking what was really going on over there."
I think that was like the only savage thing that this movie kind of shared was that his own brother sold his mama.
Yeah, I was like, "Well, I'm still trying to get her back." I'm like, "What? Yo, mama?"
The mama.
I was like, "Bro."
Yeah. I I don't know, man. It was not one of. I could understand the criticisms, and then I can understand that it was just a film of isms that the folks tried to say. Like they were like, watch it because it does show the horrors of how the slave trade affected Black women. And I was like, okay, yeah, the Black women were for. Something that I learned was that, you know how she did that whole voluntary, like, if you want to be a part of the crew, stay, and if you don't, leave. Apparently that was not so. They did a couple of volunteers, but they did a lot of voluntoads in the tribe. So the point I was trying to make is gone, but it is something that I researched and I saw where I was like, people were trying to say that, it showed how it affected them. And I'm like, yeah. I guess.
I just feel like everybody knows, or they should know, that slavery was like a dark stain on like America's cloth, and or just like the world, because
The
a lot
world,
of
period. Yeah.
slave trade, like a lot of countries, but it's just like, I just hate arguments where people try to like flip and twist it and be like, well, Africans sold their own people. And, the reality is, yes, that did happen. But I feel like people use that argument to like excuse colonialism and imperialism and like just excuse white man from like his involvement in slave trade. Because, and I'm not saying that Africans or whatever were justified in doing this, but to be fair, they sold their African people from those shores, and then it was on the white man to decide what was going on over there. So maybe they knew about the horrors of slavery, maybe they didn't, I don't know. But like white people in America and like the Americas, slavery was brutal. So whether Africans sold their people or not, they were sold into an institution that was really, really brutal. And like, who could have known that these people would be treated so badly?
My guess is that they didn't know how bad. I don't think they knew how bad it was when you.
I'm not going to go so far as to say that they didn't know, but I do feel like it is an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Like, I don't want to know, don't tell me. And maybe some of them did, because it ain't like Africans going over to America to see. I don't know about that happening, but like, it's.
I don't know, man. I feel like also there's a vast difference between, Africans, and the tribes fighting and capturing people and making them work for their tribe, versus Africans capturing people and then selling them off to some folks that they don't know about. Like, I think that's something totally different that people don't also register. Like, yeah, we was selling ourselves amongst each other or whatever. We was amongst each other. We was amongst friends. Not really friends, but you get what I'm saying. Like, we was amongst folks that we knew. This was just our system. You came over here to take advantage of a system that we had that was working for us, if that makes sense. Was it right that we were doing it to each other? Probably not. But what gave you the right to come over here and try to get in on what we had going on? And then who let y'all was the second part. That's really the third part of that. But that's really what people in America fail to realize. Yeah, we were selling each other to each other. That ain't had shit to do with y'all. Y'all could have went and sold y'all selves amongst each other to work.
But they weren't going to, because they
think, and that's where I'm saying the line of like, well, y'all were doing it. Well, y'all could have did that shit too. Y'all didn't have to come over here to us to do it.
But they did. Because
but like, it's a big argument that I always hear, like, well, Irish slaves, slaves that came as indentured workers is like minuscule to African slaves.
And again, and this is gonna be problematic as hell, and so we get canceled. But I'm like, well, the first slaves were Irish. Okay, well, why didn't y'all keep doing that shit then? Instead of coming over to us,
because they were treated as workers working off debts. Africans were in the slave trade like as property.
Talking about. Thank you. So at the end of the day, there was a fucking difference. And you know that, and y'all like to be fucking ignorant. That's what it is. And see, now I'm getting upset. Now we got to move on. Now we got to move on.
Let's move on to the ending then.
The ending, yay! They went and got Nawi back. She was like, "Not without my daughter. Not without my daughter." Have y'all seen that movie?
It broke my heart that Izogie died. I was really not even. I mean, I was watching it, so I guess I was a little invested, but I was like, "Wow, that really sucked." That was a weird scene. But
it was, because I would have kept running. I'm so sorry. I would have kept running. I'm so sorry. I would have kept running.
The only reason
I think what made it weird was that they allowed her that time to really freak out and grieve this death. And I was like,
oh, yeah.
Okay, from what I know about, like, they would have yoked her up real quick and like, okay. But then let her roll around on the ground, and I was like,
I was surprised they didn't just shoot her. I would have, because she's already shown her
property, so I think like
I thought they was just gonna shoot her because she had already started this mutiny. First of all them niggas running when they got them guns was funny as hell to me too, because I felt like that wouldn't have happened in real life neither. I think that somebody from the crowd would have shot before any of that happened, but whatever. I don't know. I thought that whole entire scene right there was just a little wild, just a tap wild. Yeah. But that might have been the reason why they started chaining them up till they was done.
That was very kind of them to let her grieve, but I
try to tell my folks this all the time, and they know I love them, and they know I ride and die for them any day of my life. But baby, I gotta help me before I can help you. And if I'm almost out the door, there's nothing I can do for you if I know it's like 20 gunmen back there. Me turning around trying to get you in this moment is not going to help neither one of us. So I'm going to keep going. And if I can find a way back, I will. And that's just, I think about that when I think about people at the movie theater. If it was the kids, I'm gonna die behind them kids. But I always think like, what can I do? Like, besides like, if I'm like grabbing your hand and trying to tell you to come on and you can't move, I can't pick you up and move you. I might have to get myself to safety before I can save you. Think about people who like fall in caves and stuff. I can get myself out. I can't go back in to save you. I'm gonna have to go and get some help. Like, and I know that probably sounds really, really selfish to other people, but my whole thought process is I'm going to do what I can to the best of my abilities until I can't. And if I see a way out that could be beneficial to us both, I'm going to take the way out. Because my getting out might help you also get out. But me staying here and trying to get you to realize that you also need to move like I'm trying to move is not going to be beneficial to both of us. And I hope I'm saying this right in a way that makes sense to the folks.
Yes, you're saying you would have left Nawi in the dirt. I got you.
I would have left Nawi in the dirt. I'm so sorry. But because again, you kind of
only because
like,
if I'm running like that, I'm probably not turning around. So I would have thought she was behind me. I'd have been in another country, and I finally turned
when
around.
I'm outside the door, I got time. Okay, I done got outside the door. I done found somewhere to hide. I got time to cool down and think. Can I go back in there later today? Can I devise a strategy? How do I figure out if she's still like? There's so many other things that I could do when I'm on the outside. Me turning around on the inside with the folks who got the guns and they looking for us and they knowing some shit going down. Me turning around for you is not helpful to either one of us.
Yeah, fair enough. I will say that scene at the end. What was the one that they drowned?
Uh-huh.
What, he put like 12 slaves in that little ass rowboat. Where was they going? Where were you going, sir?
They was going to the big ship. They were going to the ship.
Oh, so okay, it was a bigger ship out there.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they wasn't about to roll back to America. That was
like, okay, they didn't make that clear, or maybe I missed it. Because I was like, what y'all doing?
Yeah, it was a ship back there. They was trying to get to. But my thing was that wasn't even the part where I was like, why would he do that? I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is the 1800s. That gun got one shot in it. It's about 6, 7 of them. So you shoot one, what you gonna wait for you to reload? So that plan was doomed from the beginning. He only had one shot. You only get one shot during that time.
Yeah.
So you better have been deadly accurate with it.
We have a comment that says, so you would be fine if you are the person being left behind too. And absolutely, I actually would be, because at the end of the day, I want one of us to make it if we can't both make it. And if my whole thing is, if you trip and fall, and I have a split second between running back to help you stand up or get shot, I just don't think it's worth me going back and getting shot. Like, I don't. I'm saying, like, I think I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but my thing is, like,
I get what you're saying. Okay, me and Terrell are super close. And if Terrell get away and I'm caught, I wouldn't be mad at him. Like,
keep going. Yeah.
Because at that point, I was really caught. And wasn't nothing you could really do.
Right. Besides come back and get caught as well. And that serves no purpose to me. I don't want to.
Oh, Terrell better turn his black ass around
and help me up.
But even then, if I trip and fall, and when you turn around, you see 20 niggas on my ass, like 2 steps away from me, from getting me, keep going. You coming back to try and tussle me away from folks does not help or benefit me. I'm going to feel worse that you got caught or shot trying to help me.
That was supposed to teach
I believe
that the Izogie
do what's reasonable.
It did say in the beginning, we move as one team. We move as one. And so I think that was just trying to drive that point home. It wasn't the best way to drive it home, but I think that that's what it was trying to show us. And, you know, it wouldn't be a movie if we didn't have at least one tragedy. So
of course. And I mean, also, you just don't never know what you're going to do until you're in that situation. I'm just telling you, if I see a reasonable way to come back and help you up off the ground and we can still keep going, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do whatever I can, whatever I see I think could reasonably work. I am going and willing to do it. But if I see that it's like me turning around is not going to benefit, and we're both just gonna either end up caught dead or like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Well,
anywho.
But we made it all the way to the end of the film. Any final thoughts?
My final thought is, let me tell y'all something. Y'all know I always have a little Sheila Atim, who played Aminza, who was also in one of the Marvel movies. I can't remember the other black girl who was like kind of the right hand, the skinny black one who was also at the end of the movie. She was doing the pouring out of the stuff for the people. Y'all, she do something for me, and I don't know what it is. She got one of them beauties that's like. I first seen her in that Halle Berry movie, Bruised, and I was like,
okay.
Black people is fine, is what is the moral of the story. Them folks in that movie was fine. The cast was just exceptional. Skin was just chocolate, shot well, looked good, and yeah. I would love to see all them.
Bringing everybody together and shooting everyone well and
kind of problematic. But
did y'all catch Adrian? I think her last name is Williams, the one who played Mamie Till in the miniseries.
Girl, not me over here thinking you talking about the cheetah girl.
No.
Her name is Adrian Warren, but yes.
Warren, yes. Did I say Williams? I'm sorry.
Yes. Which one was that? I don't.
She was the one that died during the battle when the Oyo retaliated and they covered her.
Old Day.
Oh, and put that talisman on her cheek.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so yeah, and she's so pretty.
She really
and I was
is.
like, did anybody else get creepy?
Yeah.
That's how they were back then, or still are. But he was like, "You're so strong. Yeah, you are as beautiful as you are. I would have you as a wife." And I was like, "Ugh, gross."
You know what? You want to know something that's really funny about her? She was Sally in The Nightmare Before Christmas in concert when they were doing like the concert series.
Who was?
Adrian Warren.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you should go watch it. I think it's on YouTube.
Very well then, I will, because I love Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, I knew you did. Yeah, no, the king was creepy, and I feel like all them folks, men creepy. So sorry, Terrell. So sorry. Men is creepy. A lot of the time, not all men, but some men, but men back then especially.
Yeah, I guess they were entitled to it, but.
Terrell, you're not creepy at all. Actually, I think that you are probably the least creepy man I've ever met in my life.
He's pretty creepy.
Well, best worst weirdest, guys. Real quick, we know there's games happening and shows to be watched today.
Terrell is pretty quiet because he wants the episode to go by fast today. Because
it's the Super Bowl.
Important episode of football. No, I'm about to hang out and watch the Super Bowl and chillax with some good food and some entertainment.
Oh, God.
But no, I don't have any final thoughts.
Well, then you can start off best worst weirdest then, T-Rex.
Okay. Cool. All right. Best part of the film. I did enjoy how it was shot. I did enjoy the cast. The movie was entertaining. Worst part of the film is that this film was so factually inaccurate that it did a disservice to the actual story that they could have told. I mean, it didn't have to be all glitz and glamour and, they were so great people, but it could have been about a time where they had to protect themselves again. You could take out portions of them doing something noble. They weren't just evil 100% of the time, all day, every day. You could have took out a portion of a story that told about a great battle or a great this, like 300. Like 300, they took out a piece of what they did for that day. I mean, there's so many different ways they could have went with it. It could have been factually accurate and still told a good, entertaining story.
Yeah.
So that was the worst part of the film. And the weirdest part of the film was weirdest part that when did she become? So it was called the Woman King. So when she became the Woman King after she disobeyed the king,
Yeah.
and then the king was like, "You disobeyed me. Now you can be the Woman King."
The girl, remember, was like, "You gonna look weak if you don't appoint her after you done already told all those folks you was gonna appoint her." So that's why he had to take one for the team and his cry, because the little heart. Yeah.
And the main wife was weird. I don't get what her deal was. Was she jealous?
She was jealous. She was like, "You want to pick that old black dusty woman to be, and you see me?" Yeah, no, that's exactly what went through her mind. I could tell. She was like, "You're gonna pick her," and she walked up out of there like, "Oh, go sit down." I'm sorry.
At the end with that was she told him you would look weak, but not if he didn't appoint her, but he found out that she had defied him and went on to do that rescue attempt. I think that the wife was trying to get him to appoint her because Nanisca or whatever was gone, and then when she returned and he still appointed her, she looked real salty.
That's what I was trying to say. Like that's exactly what happened. She was real upset about it and was like, "You need to still go through with it." And he, at the end of the day, was just like, "It still wasn't gonna be you."
Right.
But what would she have gained? Wasn't she like a queen or something like that? What
She was the head mistress. She wanted it all.
Not the head queen. I think he just had a lot of concubines, or a lot of wives. Like she was like
that position that he put her in. The position that he put her in was made to be seen like she had the highest holding on everyone in the kingdom.
I have his ear, and it was
right.
Like, but yeah, I was like, how could you even think that he would choose you over Nanisca? And
he said it in the beginning of the film, if I'm not mistaken. She was like, "Why does he seem to favor her so much?" And it was like, because she fought for him, and what have you done but lock yourself up somewhere? So they said that at the beginning of the movie. She was jealous. That's it. That's all.
Oh, well, they could have kept that out too. That was nothing burger.
Okay.
Yeah, my best first weirdest. I think the best part of the movie was definitely the choreography of the fight scenes, and I think they talk a bit about it, like how they talk about they sped up the frames per second to kind of make it look really like sleek and like kind of, I don't know, almost even supernatural, like the way they did it. It was really cool. The worst would definitely be to me, like all of the side stories that they try to kind of jam in there to push this film forward, like the whole lost daughter thing, the forbidden romance, and I don't know. I just feel like, okay, yeah, men do exist, so you can't just, completely cancel them out. But this was supposed to be a film about strong womanhood, but yet we still had a man like buying her and helping her escape. And it was like, one, that was extremely far-fetched, and two, it just wasn't necessary. So I thought that was just kind of the worst, just like trying to jam all that stuff. And that's what the film should have been about, instead of relying on a bunch of historical facts that weren't even true. I would say that the weirdest part is what so just of slave trade actually is probably the weirdest bit.
kind of sucks that
this film felt like it could get away with how
it
a little more about time. That's my best. Kayla.
I think my best is everybody looked immaculate on the stage. Again, skin glowing, just looking fine, just beautiful. Love it. Love to see it. Love it. Things shot in the right light. Worst for me again probably matches up with Terrell. Yeah. We could have did a better job at just making it a little either fictionally like a little bit better. There were so many different ways that stories that you could have pulled out to pull out like, hey, we're just focusing on this one thing that happened, versus like trying to tell the story of the tribe and getting it so wrong. Weirdest to me, I think the weirdest was just probably in the way that I don't know. Weirdest to me, I couldn't tell you what the weirdest was. There were a lot of weirds. I think that they tried, they came, they did something, and it's one of those films that probably people will stop talking about one day, and move on from. And it's always, I don't hold it against the Davises for trying their hand at this. So I know that man's last name is not Davis, but I know he's Fidelity, her husband, and I can't remember what his last name is. Lord. But yeah, anywho, weirdest, you tried.
well,
So, all right.
I already know who I'm having a cocktail.
Who? Oh, Izogie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I love her.
Yeah.
She got on screen.
It was so kind, but
She was a sister friend.
but I
Mm-hmm.
really love her character.
and I thought her character was so well done. And even the moment where like
Rating. She
Mm-hmm. That was so
backstory. She was like, and then like,
Mm-hmm.
really
they pain like that a backstory
would be. And
Mm-hmm.
I really a lot
upset
when she
I think that they did.
did an
Let's fall in love with her.
at least it did for me. I really loved her character.
Mm-hmm.
I loved her character more than I
Okay.
loved the movie.
Mm-hmm. She was pretty cool. I liked her. She gave very sister girl friend vibes. I would have a drink with Nawi because I know Mama's is probably still trying to work through how her mama just gave her up, stuck a tooth in her arm, and was like, "Orphanage, you go," and then decided to tell her all these years later when she found out. Because I don't think Jesus, I know she is working through some trauma because she was like, "My life ain't easy. It hasn't been easy" a couple of times in that movie. So I'm just saying, Mama need a drink. I mean, she need a drink, not her mama. Her mama probably need a drink too, but yeah. Let's deal with the child first.
Let's see. I'm gonna have a drink with General Nanisca.
She need one too, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
everybody covered.
Because I know it for her to get to the point where she was basically taken and raped and
Mm-hmm.
whatever else happened to her while she was there to rise to the rank of general.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to know. Actually, that probably would have been a better story if they would have just told the tale of how she rose to become general.
Honestly. You did something else. Write the movie, Terrell.
Well, if she was a real person, because this person was not even real.
Woo. Forgot about that part, but
But just I don't know. Yeah, I would have had a drink just to see, how did you, and that's a lot of trauma to try to overcome and then still lead a group of women in battle and be successful in that and find out that the product of you being raped is basically standing right in front of you so many years later. Like it's yeah, I definitely would want to get how she felt about that and basically her backstory.
That was a plot hole for me.
Yeah, because she did say it was multiple
repeatedly, and I just
I thought she said
maybe it was.
multiple. I don't know.
I think I know I was raped repeatedly, and I
don't know.
Yeah.
That from the
opposing
Yeah, I guess.
The Oyo tribe. Oyo.
Okay, well,
all right.
What's about that? What's everyone do?
Oh,
actually, I'm not. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm watching Naruto. That's it. That's all.
Naruto.
Naruto.
Naruto. Okay, gotcha.
Back on my
I am not binging anything, but I am playing. Because I do play video games. Yeah. I'm playing Hogwarts. That new Hogwarts game.
Oh my gosh, so much controversy. The folks are like, don't play it, and I'm like, bitch, I'm gonna.
This is why I bought it.
Exactly. It's like the exact reason I'm gonna watch it. I mean, play with it. Yeah, no, I'm gonna play.
I'm shocked because you hate
Harry Potter ain't in it. That's why I'm gonna play it.
Okay.
Yep.
Basically, you know how see, what is that girl name? J.K. Rowling is a little transphobic, ignorant ass woman. Well, basically, the folks was like, don't play this new game because it's still putting money in her pockets. Like, if you support this game, you're like transphobic and da 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 da. Now, as a member of the LGBTQ community, respectively, shut up. She might make a little bit of royalty off of a little bit of something, but shut up. Let people enjoy things. I feel like there's like a vast difference between this woman having ignorant views versus like other stuff that we boycott people for. And such a huge franchise as well, like that she had like literally this much to do. She wrote the stories. She didn't like single-handedly produce the movies. Or, like none of that.
This game. She literally has nothing to do with this game other than
like literally nothing. Besides it being Hogwarts, like she had nothing to do with it. So
and like because I'm not a member of the community. Speak for anyone of the the LGBTQ. Community say that they do still pay things like and like Chick-fil-A, like those that are known for being anti-trans.
Mm-hmm.
One, these companies are already so well established.
Well, it's not an excuse
to not to support people, but I limit myself. I still want to enjoy what I want to do, but I am going to take my dollars and invest it in that are supportive of these communities.
Yeah,
so still live your life.
But support what you're going to support. Like, because I know a ton of gay people that still eat at Chick-fil-A and they're like, I like I like the sandwiches, so
And
I'm going to do that.
that one person's influence, like her little bit of influence on the Harry Potter franchise and stuff like, is so insignificant to like the rest. Like she literally just wrote the books. Everything else that happened after there, she had like this much participation, like participation in. The person who decided that Chick-fil-A was going to be this anti-LGBTQ thing, like they make head decisions, but they don't make like the actual like everyday
They don't make
operations.
chicken.
Like, yeah, like they don't make the corporation for real. Like, and I know that sounds like backwards because they run it, but like they have like involvement of the day-to-day experience that you get from a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I'm treading lightly here because I'm not a member of that community, but like, don't that you, because honestly, energy that makes, but
Not at all.
actually supporting groups that support these is probably a better use of energy, but denying yourself
No.
does not change. But if but choose to protest, then that is absolutely, you know, in any position to approve or disapprove. The Harry Potter franchise has become, you know, JK wrote it,
Come on.
but I think should be something to say because like one parallel with different issues in this community. It's like they kind of adopted this, and it's like this, and now the author is just like a homophobic, transphobic person. But if you love, they speak to you, enjoy. It's just the author, but a lot, really.
Yeah.
But you know,
It's giving very
do not feel compelled to whatever. So
I feel like I leave you with this.
Huh?
I feel like we leave this conversation with the good old saying from our good sis, auntie, cousin, Tabitha Brown. Have a good day. And if you can't, don't go messing up nobody else's. And that is the same for Harry Potter and Chick-fil-A. If you don't want to participate in those experiences, don't. But don't go messing it up for nobody else.
True Blood, and then
Yes, we love a good mental health show because that's exactly what that must be at this point. Familiarity.
I said, don't you have something else to watch?
She got a list of stuff to watch.
I'm also catching up on SVU because I was a season behind.
Yeah,
I'm about to say, now, I don't know how you did that because I tried to watch SVU from beginning to end. It's just so much TV. It's so much. It's so much TV. You do commit. There's a comfort in rewatching shows that feel familiar to you.
But I will say probably in like 2010 or so, I rewatched all of SVU until I caught up, and now I watch it like a new series. I feel like I'm the only one in the world that's actually like caught up to it as a new series. But yeah, so I'm watching SVU, and I caught up on Abbott, and yeah, so
Love it.
Cool beans.
Well, Terrell, you want to take us on out? Any final thoughts?
Yes,
Everybody
yes.
good?
All good.
Gucci. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you want some bonus content, want to learn more about what we got going on at Sips and Scripts, head over to sipsandscripts.com and follow us on Instagram and or Facebook at Sips and Scripts Podcast. If you have a suggestion for a film to discuss or want to join the conversation or just say what it do, you can leave us a voicemail on social media or on Anchor. We'll play it on the show. Thanks again and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.